M for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect those of the PFC Entertainment Network or any of the affiliates that make this show possible.
This is the Pure Fury Creations Entertainment Network.
And we welcome you to Ball Game here live on the PFC Entertainment Network. Along with Vinny, I'm Jason. We appreciate you tuning in and spending part of your week with us. I guess, Vinny, as we are doing this on Thursday, for a lot of people, this is the start of the Independence Day holiday weekend. I know for me personally, when I clocked out of work this morning, that's the last time I'm going to be looking at that place for a handful of days, and I can't be more excited about it. It is that time of year. I mean, especially if you're a baseball fan, like, man, there's just something very special, something very magical about this particular weekend when you tie America's pastime with our nation's birthday, and not just any birthday this year. It's, something of a milestone. Right. With the 250th. And listen, all sincerity, I cannot be more thrilled, Vinny, than to spend this year, part of my holiday weekend this year, with you. So how are things in your neck of the woods, my friend?
They're great. They're great. And same thing, I love being with you, doing this show. It's awesome. Like you said, it's got some zing to it. This time of year, 4th of July, man, and the 250th anniversary of America. Everybody's pumped. I mean, as we were talking behind the scenes, this is American pie, man. You can't get better than this. You got baseball. You have not just that. This is go time. What comes after this? All-Star break. So this is where you separate the men from the boys, man, and you kind of push forward. From now on, from this day on, every game matters. They all matter, but every game in division races, wild card, they're all going to come down to it. And like you said, a lot of people are off work. Thank God they have a time to recoup, relax, and watch some damn baseball. This is the only sport besides FIFA that's basically on prime, is baseball. No matter where you look, there's a baseball game on. And I love that NBC is doing the game of the week every Saturday. I love it. That's how it used to be when you and I were children. They used to come on. And I love that they're doing that because number one, it brings, eyes to the set, young eyes to the set. It gives them a chance. Before, with all these streaming platforms, as we talked before, that's crazy. It's nice to see a little grounded area where NBC is like, hey, we're going to put Game of the Week on at 5 o'clock, man. You know what? I'm all for that. I am all for that. That just pumps you up even more. You can't get better than that, Jay.
I feel like in some regards, because we have been, whether you're an NFL fan, whether you're an MLB fan, NBA, whatever, if you are a sports fan, you have had a particular feeling one way or the other, probably a pretty strong one, about the trend in broadcasting these games moving to a more online, internet-based streaming platform. And, like for me personally, everybody knows I'm a huge WWE fan. But in order for me to stay up to date and current with all of their programming, whether it's Monday Night Raw or their pay-per-view events or whatever the case may be, Vinny, I have to subscribe to 3 streaming platforms, and that shit starts to add up after a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
NBC, when the deal was made late last year, and they started to reshuffle who got the broadcasting rights for MLB, NBC was front and center. And they really wanted, in my view, and especially with the way they have been presenting the games and stuff like this, you know, when they said that they were getting Sunday Night Baseball, I'm like, that's badass. Because yeah, they do advertise it as streaming on Peacock, but it is also being broadcast on network television.
Yes.
And much like what you were saying, you know, kids have that opportunity to watch a professional baseball team, regardless if it's your hometown team or not. You're seeing at that point two of the best teams in baseball because they're getting that national primetime spotlight. And that's one thing I do appreciate about MLB, but I find it ironic, Vinny. Listen, we will talk about the headlines and we'll look at the standings and all this, but you know, this is an important part of the overall experience of baseball. We sit here and we 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 clamored for somebody to take the lead into giving back to the fans instead of having a perception of take. You know, we want to get as much money as we can out of your pockets, and especially with, you know, the economy the way that it is, you know, gas prices are through the roof. Like the last thing that people are really putting in their budget is anything MLB related or NFL related or anything like that. The diehards they'll find a way. Like I get that. I'm talking about your average, you know, Joe Schmo. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just where we're at. MLB is making a concentrated effort to make their product more readily available and appeasing to the audience as we have a looming strike. And it's like, man, I can't help but sit here and second guess, like, if we weren't talking about the possibility of work stoppage, would NBC or ESPN or Fox or anybody else present or present themselves in the way that they are? Like, all of a sudden they're all about the fan. And I don't know, man. It's just kind of weird. It's like they know this thing is looming, and they know that if it does happen, it's going to take a significant hit to the fan base and subsequently financial support through merchandise and ticket sales and your $15 hot dogs. And if you're in New York City, your $30 thing of caviar or what sushi or whatever the fuck it is you guys are eating over there in Yankee Stadium. But be that as it may, the timing is more than ironic. Would you agree with that?
100%. You made a good point. NBC and all these affiliates they see it coming. So they're putting their product out there kind of to say when it happens. It's not at this point, it's when it happens. Okay? Because I can almost guarantee there's going to be a strike. And so can you. We don't want it, but the NBC, these big affiliates, they know it's coming down the pike. So they want to kind of throw their product out there and say to you afterwards, you know, after they go on strike, oh, we were trying, you know, we were trying to put it on the network, but we cut bullshit because you should have been doing this 3 years ago, right? If you really wanted, put them on 3 years ago, should have been on for anyone to see, not just kids, for us. Just like the Sunday night football game, right? Why not the baseball? Put that on like they used to do. You're going to draw more eyes to the TV set. And yes, these big corporations, $20 hot dogs, this, that. People are not buying streaming apps. Let's be real with, like you said, with this economy, one tank of gas is $90 to $100 freaking dollars, bro. And you know what? I'm not wasting my damn gas to go, somewhere where I don't need to be. My ass needs to be here watching, watching some damn games. And they have to realize the kind of pain the Americans are going through, where we're going through, and put out this product so we don't have to jump through hoops and pay to see Major League Baseball, right? Let's all agree on that. Like, come on, let's put it on Channel 4, like you said, Fox, ESPN, where it's easy, accessible to watch. That's all we want. That's all.
And I really don't think it's asking for too much, if I can be honest with you. And I want to give a shout out to Cody, host of Catching Up with Cody. He's watching us over on the YouTube feed. And for those, and let me make mention of this, for those who want to be a part of the conversation, join the show with us in progress. The invite links have been posted on both the Facebook and YouTube feeds in the live chat. You click on that. It's going to make you jump through a hoop or two, and then we will bring you on the show with us. Would love to have your opinions, especially as we're coming into, as we mentioned at the top of the program. This is like the center of my summer every single year from as far back as I can remember. There were certain things incorporated into the 4th of July holiday. You had your cookouts with your hot dogs and your burgers, and the dads are all huddled over in one spot with a big ass cooler of beer, and the kids are running around playing baseball or what have you. As the night happens, then you get your sparklers and your little fireworks and things of this nature. But throughout the course of the day, in some way, shape, or form, baseball was incorporated. For us, we had the absolute privilege of having Ernie Harwell as our radio broadcast man, our play-by-play guy for generations. This man is nothing, in my view, nothing short of a baseball saint. His voice, just one of the most iconic announcers in the history of baseball. You knew he was something when the Detroit Tigers traded players to get Ernie Harwell back in Detroit. Right. And like, that's something special. That's generational, right?
But this is freaky. I'm sorry to cut you off. This is freaky. No, I think we're sharing the same freaking brain, man. Because I swear to God, as you're talking about that, the one thing I was going to reciprocate to you is, if you want to, this is freaky. You want to learn baseball, you want to listen to baseball, I was going to say, listen to the hometown radio announcers. And now you come up with that. I'm sorry, Jason, finish, but that is, you cannot be spot on. I mean, perfect. If these kids, right, take away the televisions, give me the radio, right? You listen to those announcers. Now you have to imagine the game, right? You can't see the game. So they're talking to you. They're educating you. See, a lot of people don't get that. The older generations, I'm going to listen to it on the radio. Why? Because they understand it better. You could get a better grasp for it than, it's on television, I could just see what they're doing. But they, like you said, Jason, they explain it to you. The knowledge they have for the game is incredible, and that is freaky. Like I said, we must be, same brain. My God, because Ernie Harwell, like you said, these guys are once in a generation, right? Yeah. So I mean, like you said, growing up with him, listening to him as yourself, I mean, a lot of people shy away from the radio these days and more to the television. I'm sorry for cutting you off. I just had to stick that in there, Jeff, because that was
for sure. And I think that's why it's so special to me, because we grew up in a time we didn't have TVs unless they were in our living rooms. So when we went camping, when we went out to the picnic, wherever, if you wanted to know anything about the game, you listened to it on the radio. That was your only way of knowing what was going on in real time. And I picked up very early on how special, especially radio broadcasters are, because they have to paint the picture. Like you're saying, you can't see it, but the way they can describe the smells, the sights, the sounds, like everything, that's what made guys like Ernie Harwell, Vin Scully, Jack Buck. You're talking about icons in this industry because, man, you didn't have to be in the stadium to know what was going on. They gave you the entire experience. And, I carried that fanfare through, obviously wrestling because I pay attention to the commentators. Like I've always had an interest in that, which is what ultimately brought me to doing this, and if I wish in this day and age, like we have so many technological advances that are good, but man, the takeaway from it is that like my kids will never have that fundamental feeling of radio broadcast of a baseball game that I do because they can pull the shit up on their phones in the palm of their hands.
Right.
And that doesn't, I'm not saying it diminishes their fanfare for the game of baseball, especially my son. He's not absorbing it the same way. Not one is not better than the other, obviously, but I think that's what makes our demographic, our age group, one of those last ones that really do have that appreciation. So when the unfortunate day comes and your local radio broadcaster does pass on, like you're gonna feel that shit.
Yeah.
When Ernie died, bro, the entire city shut down for a day. Like we were devastated. We lost one of our own. We lost a family member. You know what I mean? Like Ernie Harwell was. You walk into Comerica Park in their main entrance, and I actually took my girl. It was the first time her boys had ever been to a baseball game, so we took them down this past Sunday against the Astros, and man, what an experience! But her 8-year-old, as we walked in, there's a statue of Ernie Harwell, and he walked right up to it, and he's like, "Who is this?" I'm like, so glad you asked.
Now wait for 2 hours. I'm going to keep going on and telling you about it.
I told him, I was like, I could spend an entire day talking about this, man, but let me just give you the cliff notes.
Yeah. No, and you know what it did? It brought fathers and sons together because on the radio you'd be like, "Hey Dad, pop the game on." Not the phone, no phones, right? "Hey Dad, let's listen to the game together." Brought people together. Before there was even television, Jason, families would gather around the radio in the 30s and 40s when the war was going on and stuff. They would gather around and listen as a family. And yes, we've come so far along in technology. It's crazy, but the innocence of it, of getting together saying, "Hey Dad, pop it on the radio and let's listen." You're not going to get those times back, like you said, because they're going to go, "Dad, I don't need the damn radio. Here's my phone. I got everything right here."
Right.
Like you said, all right, that's their generation. I get it. But the purity, I think, is the innocence when we were growing up and when there was not a lot of options for you. You had to find your options. If there was a game in between, guess what? You went outside to play baseball till the other game came on. If there was another game, that's what you just did. There wasn't, let me go on my phone. There was no such thing even mentioned or thought of back then. And that's where I don't like the new technology the way that is. I'd rather have an old fashioned, okay, I'm not saying let's not have television, but yeah, absolutely have television, but to bring that purity back. And I think one more point, I think that we go through this in the postseason. Like you said, Ernie Harwell, you want to listen to him if your Tigers get in, right? You want to listen to your hometown announcers. Guess what? You don't. You get what ESPN gives you or Fox. And you're like, I don't want to listen to these guys. I've been listening to Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, and Ron Darling all season. Now, they make the World Series. Why is that different? to me, I think that's another thing that we really never brought up on this show, and I think needs attention. These announcers, you know what? I've heard that they get very disappointed when they're not called to do, you know, a TBS when they're in the playoffs. They don't go, okay, season's over. No, they're a part of that team, Jason, and they want to get out there and announce. But big corporation, just like us, bam, smashes them on his head. Go home, see you next year. Not fair.
Listen, you're right, and like I 100% hear you, and I have 2 points to this. The first one I'll make: we as Detroit fans are in a unique position in that realm. Jason Benetti, who is the lead guy on Sunday Night Baseball, he is the Detroit Tigers TV announcer full time. So we get him all the time. So when I tune in and I'm watching Cubs Cardinals and I'm hearing his voice, it's kind of a mind fuck if I could be honest with you.
Right,
I mean, he's good. He's
right.
a great, his story, his personal story is very inspiring. And the fact that he is in that spot is incredible. Now, when I was younger, and this is a life hack that I will incorporate to this day, my grandfather would turn the game on. It's funny you said Channel 4, because at that time, that's what channel it was on here, WDIV in Detroit, Channel 4. He would turn the TV on, but turn the volume down, and then turn on the radio broadcast. So while we're watching it, we're listening to Ernie Harwell.
Yep.
It was kind of weird because there was like a 5-second offset.
Delay.
Yeah.
The delay.
And it's like, so it's like, but we didn't care. You know what I mean? It seemed like the video was a little bit faster than what we were hearing, but we would see the home run, and then 5 seconds later, and Ernie is long gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that's
no.
I do that shit to this day because I do have the MLB app on my phone, but I don't. The only TV subscription I have is the local one here, just so I can watch the Tigers.
Right.
So I'll be at work at 1 a.m. listening to Colorado and the Giants because they're playing on the West Coast. I get baseball all night long, bro.
Exactly.
And it's their radio broadcast. You know what I mean? So it's really cool.
I know exactly, because I have the app. Like you said, you can select to either see it, hear it, whatever you want to do with it.
Which broadcast you want to listen to?
Exactly. It's awesome. And the reason why I say the other ones, I remember, I love Keith Hernandez. Let's just get that out there. Ron Darling, Keith. And the reason why I love Keith, he speaks his mind. He's not afraid. He's not afraid to. And I remember this year when the Mets were going to play on Apple TV for like 2 days in a row. Let me tell you, he was pissed off on the air. He even said it. He was like, we can't do that game. I mean, he was literally upset. He was like, oh, all right, see you guys in 3 days then. I mean, these guys genuinely, he doesn't hold back. And that's what I like about him. He will criticize the Mets. He will criticize the other team. He doesn't care. If he sees a play or something that's just not right, he will call it out. And that's a true announcer, because if you're not telling your true feelings, you're really not announcing. I get you have to hold back a little bit for the rules or whatever they do. I'm not saying be malicious or anything, but that was a bad play. There's nothing wrong with saying that on your own team or this and that. And that's what I like about, like you said, the standout commentary. They will go there. And you know what their attitude is? You don't like it? Who cares? Then fire me. But this is my feelings on the team. And let's face it, they got so much money, they don't care. I mean, if they were to get canned because of a stupid thing, no. I mean, say what you have to say, good or bad towards another team, this and that, and let's get it all out. I mean, you'll learn more. The kids will learn more. That's what I'm saying too. So,
100%. And keeping in line with the whole 4th of July festivities that were going into the weekend, and it's crazy that the 4th actually falls on Saturday this year. So, It's like right in the weekend. Do you think, or let me rephrase this, how much effort, consideration do you think MLB puts in when they're scheduling this weekend? Do you feel like this is one of those marquee weekends in terms of matchups, what games we're going to see? And I ask that because unprecedentedly, I'm looking at Sunday's broadcast lineup, and Peacock has got a slew of games that they are going to be broadcasting on Sunday the 5th. But before I do the rundown on what these matchups look like this weekend, how much emphasis do you think MLB puts in knowing that this is a holiday weekend? Or do you think it just works out however the teams fall, that's how they fall on that weekend? What's your thought on this?
I think it's similar to the NFL schedule. It's already planned to be out there in the beginning when they make their schedule. Like you said, it's going to be on Peacock. Now, football will, they will play another game. They'll go to another game if the team is horrible, right?
Right.
I forgot what that's called. Whatever it was.
Flex.
Right. They'll flex it. So I
Yep.
think baseball is following that kind of game. But I don't think they have done it yet where they announced something and then said, no, we're going to put a different game on. So I think it's cemented. They want eyes on the tube. But to me, if you're putting it solely on Peacock, 5-6 games and not on NBC, only Peacock, then I would say you're doing a disservice because everybody's home and they're going to be basically watching, channel 2 through 13 or something like that. That's the only reason why I say I don't think they're putting too much into it. If anything, they're putting in too much into the apps and not regular broadcasting main channel.
Interesting take. As far as the national broadcast goes, and again, we're talking about Sunday the 5th here. This is going to be aired on NBC at 12:30. Mets at Braves. That's also going to be on Peacock. And then Sunday night baseball at 7:20, San Diego at the Dodgers. Now let me run down these other matchups for the 4th of July weekend here. Mm-hmm. Pittsburgh at Washington. That should be a decent series. The Minnesota Twins are going to be at the New York Yankees, and I can't wait to get into the Yankees here in a minute. The Tigers are in Arlington to play the Texas Rangers. The Toronto Blue Jays are going a long way from home. They're going to be in Seattle to play the Mariners. Baltimore and Cincinnati. Tampa Bay will be in Houston. The White Sox, this is one that I'm going to be paying attention to. The White Sox are going to be in Cleveland to play the Guardians. The Cubs are hosting Cardinals. Now, so far, I feel like Cubs-Cardinals is probably, as far as rivalries go or things of this nature, inter-division rivals, like this is one of those games. This is one of those series.
Definitely.
Again, the Braves. Fox is will be broadcasting Cubs and Cardinals, and simultaneously on the other linear channel, Braves and Mets. So Fox has that broadcast right. Then we move into San Francisco. Will be playing in Colorado against the Rockies. The Royals are hosting the Philadelphia Phillies. Angels and Red Sox are going to be playing. The Athletics will be hosting, I use that term loosely, Miami Marlins.
In the backyard. In my backyard. You can see
right down there on the sand lot. Arizona Diamondbacks are hosting the Milwaukee Brewers. That's going to be a good game. And then again, Dodgers and Padres. It's just... I always felt like with the 4th of July, like you would put some of your you would try to make it to where some of your more marquee matchups were taking place. Red Sox, Yankees are always the first ones that come to mind. I mean, talk about rivalries in baseball, Vinny. I don't know how you feel about this personally, but when you talk about rivalries in baseball, I feel like Yankees Red Sox is at the top of that list. Would you agree
One
with that?
1000%. We talked about this 2 weeks ago, and then what the Red Sox and Yankees just played. That was such a crazy series.
Hmm.
They swept them, right? They swept.
Yeah.
I mean, that was I loved it, of course, and and it resonated with me because I was thinking of the last episode we did and how we
Hmm.
were talking about that. And the people were going friggin' nuts, in Fenway and this and that. And I'm going, there's your answer, Jason. There it is. Just wait, if you see the game, that's the biggest rival, man. And they don't care, if you're under 500, this and that. They picture it as I'll play spoiler, So
For sure.
those two damn teams. I agree with you what you said on the 4th of July. Hell yeah, man. Let's get Red Sox and Yankees. Let's get Dodgers and San Diego, right? You could do that.
Yeah.
Cincinnati and Brewers. You could do that. I mean, you can do all marquee matchups that are not just games; they're rivals.
Right.
That would put just alone on the map.
And I think that's why I took such great interest, when I saw Cubs and Cardinals, because I feel like these are two of the more storied franchises in all of baseball. There's a lot of history between those two teams. And obviously, Red Sox right now. I mean, standing wise, they're not good on paper. They're not good, but
No.
the way they played that series with New York, man, you would have thought they were in the ALCS. You know what I mean? They
Absolutely.
came out, well, I mean, guns a blazing. And let's talk a little bit about the Yankees here, because it was only a couple of weeks ago, Vinny, that they were sitting on top of the American League. Albeit, Tampa Bay was right on their heels, but New York was the team in the American League since then. And in the past week or so, week and a half or so,
Right.
I cannot believe this, but they are on a 7-game losing streak, and that's after getting swept by the Detroit Tigers. Look,
I love it. I don't
my
care.
heart my heart smiles when I get to say that. You know what I mean? Because we've talked about the Tigers a lot here. They have been such a roller coaster. You think when it's good, it's decent, but when it's bad, like it's fucking bad.
That
But to go into New York and sweep the Yankees, that hasn't been done since 2008, and
right. Oh wow.
that says a lot about the current status of this team. They're still waiting for Aaron Judge, to
Yep.
come back to be the player that they need him to be. Like when we talked about this a month ago, like we chuckled at this. This
Right.
has turned into be a big thing for the Yankees. It's not just riding on his shoulders. Like their pitching has not been, awesome.
Right.
Their
Hasn't been living up
bats,
to no.
they're listen, even I can admit they're not playing New York Yankees baseball. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like there's a big big disconnect happening in the Bronx right now. And look, if you're a hardcore Yankees fan, like our good friend Freddie is, man, I feel his pain when I watch his TikToks and he's doing his recaps. I see the deflatedness. I feel that shit as a Tigers fan, as a Rockies fan, and up until recently as a Cubs fan. I mean, at least the Cubs are kind of flirting with being decent.
No. Jay. No, you're wrong. You can't feel for a guy that won 29 championships. God damn it. No.
No, not the king. I'm
Jay.
talking about, look, Freddie, listen.
I
Vinny,
like Freddie too, but Freddie, listen, 29, bro, to 2. Nah, no way. I don't care who's watching. Listen, my 2 favorite teams are the Mets and who the hell ever beats the Yankees. That's it, right? That's how it was. My 2 favorite teams, my Mets and whoever beats the Yankees. Whoever's playing them that day is my favorite team. I can't stand them. The Yankee fans, especially what I've been through when I was a kid. Oh, no. They're not getting away with it that damn easy. Oh, no, Jason. No. Like you said, I feel bad for them. Oh, no feeling bad. I'm sorry, Freddie. But you know what? You won too many damn times.
So, Freddie, essentially what Vinny's telling what Vinny's saying is if you're on fire, he ain't pissing on you to put you out.
Let you burn. Right to the bone, baby. Burn to the bone. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Nah. Listen, man, that I have always been that way. When I was a kid, I didn't say, I kind of like the Yankees. No. It was, I kind of like the Dodgers at first. Then it was the Mets. And then what came after that? F you Yankees. That was it. Done since I was 7 years old. And you know, when you were kids, your friends, you know, the Mets, they suck. The Yankees, they would keep winning. So, you know what? After a while, you get a damn grudge, and then they're cocky on top of it. Oh, you guys, the New York Mets, you ain't doing shit. Well, listen, when the shoe is on the other foot, don't give any crap to us. You know what I mean? Because they've been too good, Jason, for so long, and you can't take it. But seriously, you can't take anything away from that. I mean, they did obviously something right? 29 championships. They've done a lot of good. But, you know, am I going to like them? No. And that's okay because, like you say, that's the evil empire, right? And we're trying to chop down that evil empire. And you know what? A season wouldn't be a season, obviously, with the ups and downs. Because if you were just a steady, you know, you're constantly 25 games over 500, it's not fun. You got to go through your losing streaks. You got to go through your winning streaks. And then in between, what? Teams catch up. They start to gain some steam. And this is where you start to see some young talent or some of the older talent come alive. So this gives opportunities, I think.
No, I'm totally with you on that. And listen,
and nothing against Freddie out there. I'm just messing around, Freddie.
But I mean, like he's gotta expect that when you put your allegiance on a team like that, you know there's going to be a lot of fellow fanfare, but you also know you got to expect you're going to get the backlash on the other side of it. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, Jason, just look what happened this past week. They fired the Mets manager. Yeah. Right? I made a video. I called them the New York mess. I'm not going to defend something that's not there. They're a mess. And that subject real quick, that's a shame. They got rid of the manager and kept Stearns the general manager. That's like putting a Band-Aid on a gashing wound to me. No way. Mendoza should have still been there, should have got rid of the cancer, which is Stearns. I'm sorry. And everybody, the whole New York area that I've been watching is not blaming Mendoza. Any young kid that says, I just fired the manager. Bullshit. I'm sorry. Hold up. You don't know what you're talking about. Number one, Mendoza did not pick this team. Stearns did. A year ago, the Mets were big-time contenders. And what did Stearns do? He got rid of everyone. So you can't expect to win. Not when you get key players, Alonso, Nimmo. You know the players they got rid of. Key, not second-rate shortstops. We're talking, future Hall of Famers you got rid of. In spite of what? Simeon and Nick. It's too late, Jason. And then you put the blame on the manager. That manager is going to find a job. Mark my words, right after All-Star break, if not before All-Star break, he'll be. I think he'll go to the Red Sox. Mendoza. I think so. I really do. I do because what? The Red Sox got an interim, right? Their interim manager right now. Yep. I think Mendoza, this is my prediction on our show, is going to go to the Boston Red Sox. I feel strong about that. I really do.
All right. Well, how pissed off are you going to be if that winds up becoming a thing? And the next thing you know, there's this incredible rebound for the Red Sox, and the next, they're starting to sniff playoffs at
Right.
that point.
I'm going. If that happens, Jason, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going for the Red Sox.
Sure.
I'm gonna root Mendoza on. I mean, listen. I got nothing against the guy. To me, he didn't do anything wrong. Was he the best manager? No. Like I said, was he a great manager? No, he was a good manager. And a good manager, okay, can bring you to the dance. And you just didn't give him not enough time, but enough time with the right team, with all the pieces together. Like I said, you finally got all the pieces together in 2025, and then you just let them go. And that comes down to a money thing too. Think of all the high name players that they had, and I think he just came to terms with, I'm not going to pay these players that money because I lost so much in my pocket, and now he's going to lose more because you know what? Look at Citi Field; it's not filled. They are basically giving tickets away for $30 on the site.
Shit.
Yeah, $30. 25, make it family night. Oh, now you want to do that. Why didn't you do that in the first place? No, it's when they're in the bottom of the cellar and not going to come back up that, let's give some tickets away for real cheap. Should have been doing that from the beginning. You would have had more fans and they would have stuck with you too.
Yeah. Listen, from our perspective, it makes too much sense. We're trying, we can sit here. I don't know, man. Like, it's the business side of anything sports related, it just, we look at it. I guess it's easy for us to sit here and be like, man, I would be doing this, I would be doing that. And I'm not trying to play devil's advocate here because listen, here in Detroit, we've seen our fair share of real shitty general managers and managers, coaches that like we've seen it, we've been through it. And so I feel for you, as a Mets fan, seeing all this bullshit go on, Mendoza, it's just, why does things have to be stupid complicated? Why do they have to make it stupid complicated? And it would be just incredible to see if he was to land with the Red Sox and he just completely turns that team around. And the next thing you know, they're moving up the goddamn in the division. You know what I mean?
It's not impossible, Jay.
It's
not impossible. I mean, what's their record? Do you know the record offhand?
You know what? I just had it up. Stand by. The Red Sox are sitting at 37-48. They're 14 games behind the Tampa Bay Rays in the AL East.
Okay, so let's just say devil's advocate, like you said. Okay, Mendoza gets the job after the break, right? After the All-Star break. And from there on, say he plays 650 ball, right? That's enough to say, holy cow, he turned this team that was 435 to 660 now. That's a big enough deficit where I go, whoa. Imagine if he had a whole season with this. He only had a half to gain back that 65% of winning percentage. 631, I'm sorry. And that would be a story and a half because you had you had Cora there. They got rid of Cora, right? Which I didn't agree with either, but they let him go. You bring Mendoza in, a fresh pair of eyes and hands, man, and you don't know. This team just might gel with him perfectly, and it all might come together where, let's face it, a wild card is totally not out of the question at that point.
Right.
I mean, you could at least get the wild card and then come back and beat the Yankees, which I would love. But, imagine that story. Mendoza comes from the Mets, goes to the Red Sox, goes to the playoffs, finally gets in by a hair toe there, right? And then beats the first place Yankees. Oh, my God. Dude, I'd be out on the street screaming. I would love it. That's how big. Yeah, that would be a great story.
Another story that I'm looking at right now is the shakeup going on in the AL West. Up until a couple of weeks ago, and to my surprise, but also to my glee and delight, the Athletics were the number one team in the AL West there for a minute. And, we've sat here on this show, we've sat and talked on the Sports Reel podcast, which you hear every Tuesday night live here on the PFC network. My fundamental feelings about the Athletics baseball team, the franchise, kind of sitting in limbo and waiting for their new home stadium in Las Vegas to be, done and completed and open. Right now they're playing in, some college field, it looks like, in Sacramento, which, the fine folks at Sacramento love me. Can I just tell you that? Like, they love me in Sacramento.
Fan mail, baby.
Brother, let me tell you, that's when I knew I struck a nerve. I mean, not only were they commenting on the TikTok and shit over on the Sports Reel podcast, but like they started sending me shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, you are welcome.
You say to yourself, I did a damn good job.
I went to bed feeling good about myself that day. And, I pissed a lot of people off in Sacramento. And look, it wasn't malicious. I didn't mean to. I was just trying to bring some sort of awareness. But apparently, they're a little sensitive over there in those parts. So be that as it may, but right now, just a lot of moving and shaking within days. Right now, as we sit here, the Texas Rangers and the Seattle Mariners are the top teams in the AL West. Both sitting at 44 and 43. Right under them, the Houston Astros are 2 games back. The Athletics are 3 games back. So, I mean, they're not out of it. It's not like the bottom has fallen out. But, when you look at it in black and white like this and you see them that they were at the number 1 spot for a minute, now they're looking at the number 4 spot. And then under them, and this is, I don't know what's going on with the Angels, Vinny, but this is a team that we're going to have to watch for the next few weeks to see if what's happening there is sustainable or if this is just a flash in the pan. Because right now, the Angels are 6-4 in their last 10 games. They're still 8 games out of first place in the AL West, but you consider the fact that it wasn't all that long ago, they were 14 games back. Los Angeles is starting to play some decent ball here. And I'm looking to see, okay, is this something that they can build on? Are they catching the right point in the schedule where there might be a little bit of a lull for these teams that they're playing against? So it's making them look better than they are. I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen with the Angels. Have you been keeping tabs on them at all or no?
To be honest, I haven't. But one thing always comes to mind when you say the Angels. Trout.
Yeah.
I would love for that guy to win a championship, right? So when you were saying that, my mind went to Mike Trout right away. That guy deserves a championship. Right?
Yes.
And the way he does, like we said on the last episode, he didn't go team to team. One team, bro. One team the whole career. And how many in this recent decade or 2 decades can you count on your fingers that people have done that? Not many.
No.
That stayed with one team through the thick and thin, and the quality of player that he's gonna be, that he is, Hall of Famer. He could have went to the Yankees if he wanted to and said, let me get a championship, grab it, and go.
Right.
No. And that's what would be even more sweeter if they did, Jason, if they did get in the playoffs and win the World Series. Oh, my gosh. Mike Trout would be on top of the world in more ways than one because you've waited 20 years almost, your whole career. And you were kind of betting on yourself, right? I'm not giving up on it. I'm not giving up.
Right.
And it pays off. Holy cow, would that make a great, great story. I mean, you can't get better than that if that would ever happen.
No, he's pretty amazing, and we've sung his praises here on the program in previous episodes. Just because of his commitment, his loyalty to the Angels. This is the team that brought him to the dance, and I really appreciate that about him. And I really truly do. uh, as we're sitting here talking about it, and we think of the different players that have jumped from team to team, just so they can get to the World Series, win the World Series. One guy that comes to mind now, really, it's just there's a couple of them. Roger Clemens,
Yep.
when he went to the Yankees, Johnny Damon.
Yep.
That and I was a big Johnny Damon fan when he was with Boston, but when he turned around and left for New York, like I was pissed. I was real pissed, but I got over it when he came here to Detroit. And I was
Yep.
like, okay, well, I'm
Yep.
over it now. But Mike Trout's legacy, is going to be solidified as part of Angels lore because of what he's been able to do. Now, if he was to sign a year with, let's just say, the Dodgers,
Right.
he moves across the street.
Yeah.
Would that ruin his legacy on any level, in your opinion?
I don't think so. I don't think so. If he were to do it next year, I think he's okay, Jason, because he spent all his career in one spot. And say he did, like you said, go across town to the Dodgers and win a World Series. I think I have no problem with that because it's only 1 year. And if he would retire after that and that's it, I don't see a big deal in that. I'd rather him win it with the Angels, obviously. But
Right.
if he did that, I don't think it would tarnish anything. You would have your haters out there. Okay, you're always
Sure.
going to have your haters. But to me, I would say the guy needed a friggin' break. He's that good. He's going to be one of the best hitters that ever lived. Okay, one of the best. He deserves a ring. He deserves a championship. Did he steal it? To me, no, because he did his time, if you want to say. 17 years with the Angels and with all the struggles they went through, ups and downs, last place, and he stuck it out. And then you want to say, okay, 1 year he went to a championship team. I don't see it tarnishing. I really, really don't. I don't. He won't go in as a Dodger, right? I don't think I wouldn't. He go as an Angel, and he's that type of guy. He's a down to earth guy that genuinely cares, and I wouldn't have a problem with it. Would you have a problem with it, Jay?
So as you're laying that out, I was sitting here thinking about it. If he went across the street to the Dodgers, I wouldn't have as big of a problem. A part of me would be like, damn.
Right.
Now I'm pissed off at the Angels organization for not putting a team around him to keep him with that franchise throughout the entire tenure of his career.
Right.
But if he was to go to the Dodgers, I would be okay with it. One, because you've almost, at that point, you're at least getting to the playoffs. You're at least sniffing the World Series at bare minimum.
Right.
And that he remains in the LA market where he is very well known and very popular.
Yes.
If he was to move to the East Coast, if he was to sign with the Yankees, I'm having a huge fucking problem with that.
Yes.
And I would correlate that with Anthony Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo was the heart of
Chicago.
the World Series Chicago Cubs team. And then he hauled ass to New York. And I was a big Rizzo fan.
Yeah.
And I don't hate the guy, but I didn't cheer for him anymore because he wore the pinstripes. That's how much I really don't like the Yankees.
Exactly.
And I don't think there is an exception, Vinny. If I had a favorite player, doesn't matter if he's with Detroit or Colorado or Charlie Blackmon. It was my favorite baseball player for the Rockies.
Colorado. Yep, Colorado.
Yes,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
If he was to go to New York, it would devastate me, and I would never root for him again. That's just I know that may sound weird, but that's how much I cannot stand the New York Yankees franchise.
You're
You know,
singing my tune. Yeah, I
and
understand.
I don't know. I
But
guess anywhere else but New York. You know what
right.
I mean?
But here's the question too. Like you made a great point. The Angels organization, shame on you. You got one
Absolutely.
of the best players in the world, right?
Up for the
So
entire
exactly. What are you doing? Why aren't you putting pieces around this guy to win? Like if they said, Jason, you could be owner for 2 years, man, you would put the best players around that guy to win, and it wouldn't matter. They don't have a cap, right? So
right.
money's not a problem. They got the money. Go out, get the Mookie Betts. Go get the Freemans and stuff. Put them around them. What is wrong with these organizations that they know they have a diamond in the rough right there? They got them, and you do nothing about it. That's the thing. You don't put any players around them. I will never understand it, and they'll go, oh, well, it's the money. No, it's not. No, it's not the money. I'm sorry. It's not. How can these low market teams do it and not them? Even though Angels is not a big market, I get it. But still,
They're in a big market. The problem is that the share of that market is dominated by the other team
yep.
in the city, because you have owners that have unlimited resources. The Angels, and that's why I always thought two teams in one market was just such a cluster, from that standpoint. Chicago and the state of Missouri, and, St. Louis and Kansas City. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's a lot more fans for the Cardinals than there is for the Royals until the Royals start winning. Then all of a sudden they're swapping their allegiances. The New York is a great, the state of Florida. It's weird how the market is broken up that way. And you can really see that corporate influence nowadays because everybody and their brother in the LA market wants to have their shit tied to the Dodgers. Why? Because they're winning. They're champions. They're the defending champions. 10 years ago, that was not a thing. Nobody was paying attention to the Dodgers. They were paying attention to other teams that were making noise, the Giants and things of this nature. It's just weird how it all shapes up. And, I hate to go back to this, but this is why we know without a shadow of a doubt, a strike is coming. And the basis of the strike is going to be the salary cap. And it's for shit like this right here, because if there was a salary cap, you wouldn't see that huge gap between Dodgers, Angels, Cardinals, Royals, Cubs, White Sox. Like it's going to be a more level playing field.
And you wouldn't see as many trades either, Jason.
You're right about that.
You wouldn't see as many trades. Nope. Because you got a cap, right? So it's you have to treat it like football. If I get rid of him, right, we're over the cap, so we can't sign so and so, so and so, so and so. So it will work that way. And one thing I want to mention: Tampa Bay Rays, right?
Yeah,
they've been a good team basically since their existence, but they can't draw anybody. Why? They're in a retirement home. I didn't mean to say it that way.
No, but you're right. That they're in St. Petersburg, right. And that is known where a lot of people go to retire.
Right.
And listen, not to be disparaging, but how excited are these people going to get over a winning baseball team? You know what I'm saying? I am
a heart attack.
That's what I didn't want to say it, but you're absolutely right. Do you think these fuckers are going to be jumping up out, and how hooting and hollering and doing the wave and all? I mean, some will, but it's
no, I know. More wheelchair accessible. No, I'm not going there, but
We don't mean to be disrespectful.
No,
We're trying
it's
to make
baseball
culture.
chatter. Yeah.
Right. But Tampa Bay has been a good team. They have been a consistent team, right?
Right.
And they finally did all these renovations on their stadium and all this because I mean that place was the drizzling shits. And, you know, to see it on TV, and you're just like, oh my God, how is this place? You could see the rust, you know, in the
Yes.
top part of the dome and all this other stuff. I'm like, what is this? So if they're not going to be that invested in their home stadium, how am I as a fan going to be invested in watching this team on TV? You know what I mean? I feel like they got there on a technicality or something. They felt bad for them. Well, fuck it. Let's put the Rays in the World Series this year, you know, just to get a new fan base to watch. Problem is nobody watched.
Nobody
And
won.
but they're still right now they're on top of the AL East, and they have been there. They have been in the hunt for a long time, and it's crazy because
They would do better, I think, in Miami. More of a Miami setting. See, the Florida Marlins, they changed it to the Miami Marlins and this. I'm not telling you to take them out of Florida. I don't want to see that. But Tampa Bay, I mean, they deserve so much more credit than what they're getting. The fan base, you know what I mean? Like we said, they're not selling out. Even in the playoffs, it's like, and we're only joking about the old, but it is true. It is a retirement city there. And, you know, you have to land some youth around there to boost it up. If you're going to stay in Tampa Bay, well, you got to put not a better product because they're in first place, but you have to, like you said, the stadium, update it, do some things to it where people actually want to get out and go to the stadium, like you said, and not watch rust grow on it and this and that. Make it an enjoyment for the fans, and they'll come out and watch the game. But when you see that stadium, like you said, there's nothing that sticks out to you. You know what I mean? And when you see PNC Park, you go, "Oh my God, look at the bridge and the water and that." That's appealing. Giant Stadium, beautiful. Got the glove. Do something like that. I mean, you need to attract some of the younger fans, you know, and you know what? Once you do that, you got a happy medium. You got young, you got medium, you got old, and you got stories to tell. It all ties together as a bow, baby. And they're not doing it. It's more the older generation. And I think that's where they're going wrong. They're being flat. I want to see them stay in Tampa, like I said, around there, but they have to do something to the stadium, more attraction towards that.
Make it feel like you give a shit.
Right.
I mean, it really does come down to it. Act like you care about this team, and we, as the paying consumers or the fans, will get more invested in it. You know what I mean? It's a psychological thing that people don't acknowledge, or it's just too deep for them to even flirt with that mindset. But like that's how I look at shit. You know what I mean? Like
if I were to say to you, Jay, we're going to go to Florida. What ball game you want to go say? You're not going to say let's go to the Tampa Bay Rays game. What else?
No,
the
Marlins.
Marlins.
Let's go see the Marlins. Yeah.
Let's go see the Marlins instead, right? Let's go see that's what would come up in a young person's mind too. Ooh, Miami versus Tampa Bay. Nightlife, right? Go to the game, go for a nice dinner, go to the bars. I don't know if Tampa has any of that kind of stuff, but that's what I'm saying. The first thing that comes off your mind is not, hey, Jason and Vinny's going to take a vacation and go to see the Tampa Bay. No. We could get more appealing than that, Jay. You know what I'm saying? You could get, but I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, rip it off.
No, just saying. You know, if I don't feel like as owners, you are investing as much interest or monetarily into your team, into the presentation, you know, how are you expecting me to take some of my hard-earned money and invest back in you? and it sucks because the team on the field is playing their asses off.
Yep.
And they are a good team, and they deserve to have a fan base and community that is as invested in that team as that team is clearly invested in winning. And the problem is they're not going to see anything like that unless they make the ALCS. And I can back that up because I can specifically remember the last time they were in the playoffs very recently here, and it was nowhere near sold out. Nowhere near it. Every other game during the playoffs, completely 100% sold out, and with the one exception of the Tampa Bay Rays. What the fuck are you doing?
Exactly.
That should not be a thing.
No. How does the players feel? Like you said, you made the ALCS and you don't sell out. You feed off the fans, right? You feed off the fans.
100%.
But there's no fans to feed off of. So it makes no sense. Yeah. Listen, it goes with any sport. If your team makes the conference title or whatever it is, if you're not sold out, shame on you. Then you're not a real fan. Then you know what I mean?
Right.
Because if I don't care if you won the championship 3 years ago. If you're back in it, sell that bitch out, man. I mean, go. What else is there else to do? This is your team. If this is what you say, the real fans, this is my team, die hard, and you don't go to one of these games, I understand it's costly. But I mean, just to tune in, just to be there, then you know what? Then you got no argument. You may be a great fan, but my gosh, you look on television, like you said, and you're not sold out in an ALCS game. A shame. You have to be ashamed of yourself to put yourself like that. I'm sorry. There's something wrong then, Jason. You said.
No, you're absolutely right. And the thing of it is, especially in the Tampa Bay area, and again, no disrespect, but they will have more games of bingo next week. You're not going to miss anything, is what I'm saying. Your baseball team, and see, this is what got me heat in Sacramento. So now I'm starting. The Clouse is Fire tour is now rolling into Tampa Bay, Florida. Listen. I understand wholeheartedly the economics of any thought process. You really got to budget. You really got to, prioritize things based on what your personal situation is. And a lot of people cannot afford simply to go to a baseball game. I do understand that. I understand that wholeheartedly. But this, as a sidebar, this is where teams like Tampa Bay, teams like Milwaukee, teams like, these smaller markets, but are still good teams. This is where you have the opportunity to make yourselves look like $1 million by doing some sort of program that makes it appear as though you are reaching out to the community to bring in the people that desperately want to go to your games to support your team, but financially cannot do it because of the way the ticket prices are set up, or because of the way their economic situation is, their employment, or whatever the case may be. This is where baseball really has a very unique opportunity to really become the sport of the people. We call baseball America's pastime for a reason. And it seems like when you get to this level, when you're starting to deal with billions of dollars, with contracts, with sponsorship rights, with streaming deals, with this, that, and the other thing, you forget on some level, on a low-key level, you forget what brought you your fundamental love of baseball. Now, there are executives like they couldn't give a flying fuck about baseball. They're there because they were hired to do a job within the office, whether it's accounting or marketing or something like that. They don't give a fuck about the game. All they're there for is their paycheck. but they happen to be good at what they do. But there's also a contingent of those executives that at one point were baseball fans. But when they get to this level and they're going on their $1,000 dinner dates and they're buying fucking, their luxury boxes and all this other stuff, you forget what brought you to the dance. And when you forget what brought you to the dance, you have compromised the foundation of what made baseball as great as it is. They don't call football America's pastime.
No.
They don't call basketball America's pastime. There's a reason why baseball is. And I just wish we would stop focusing so heavily on the financial bottom line and get reacclimated to the fundamental and pure love for the game.
Jay, you brought up so many good points, and it got me thinking. Damn right. You're absolutely right. Here's the question. The Knicks just won, right? The Knicks won the NBA. How many fans do you think were really fans that went to that game? Because, like you said, they can't afford $8,000 a ticket.
Right.
You made a great point, because the true fan cannot go. They can't. It's too much money. They can only watch it on television. Make it cheaper. I'm not saying that every single game, but this is their opportunity, right? In the playoffs, regular season, put some packs. It's not going to kill you for $30. Get the true fans in. You know what? Those stadiums would explode, because you got real fans. We're not talking paper fans. Okay. Do you think the Super Bowl, do you think those guys are hard die football players? They're executives, bro. They're executives with the tie. Where are we going to? Oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. And then, no, they don't even know how to tailgate. And you know what I mean? Because the freaking tickets are $10,000. Who can afford $10,000 for one game? I know executives, rich people that don't know anything about the game, Jason. That's what I'm saying.
They're not going for the game. They're going for the experience, because the things like the Super Bowl becomes a destination. It becomes a status thing. I went to the Super Bowl. I was sitting on the 40-yard line and blah, 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 or I had a box seat at MetLife Stadium, or whatever the case may be. Okay. Who scored the first touchdown?
Right.
What is a touchdown?
Yep.
What is roughing the passer? And you're making a great point here, because the people who go to these things as a status symbol thing, they're robbing the opportunity for somebody who genuinely loves the game the chance to be a part of this. I know the Super Bowl is kind of a bad example because of what it has blown up into. It's no longer a fucking football game. That the football game part is actually the backdrop of it. It's no longer the focal point. It's about the commercials. It's about how much money is changing hands. It's about all these corporate sponsors, and it's about how many celebrities can you show during the course of a 3.5 hour broadcast. They're there to get seen, to be a part of something that at one time meant something on a sports level only. It ain't about that anymore. Not exclusively, not like it's supposed to be. And that's why I feel the way I do about baseball. That's why I feel the way I do about the World Series as baseball's crowning championship destination. For the NFL, it's one game. For baseball, it's a best 4 out of 7 series. You know what I mean? Yeah. And celebrities do go to the World Series. I'm not going to sit here and say that they don't, but the presentation and the way they're presented is not on the same level of the NFL, because at least baseball still recognizes the fact that there is a goddamn game to be played here. And they really still try to put that focus on 9 innings of baseball and the men who are on there trying to win a championship. The whole corporate thing has just, it's poisoned so much.
Yeah.
And it's not just baseball or not just football. Bro, I could sit here for 3 hours with you and break down why the corporate entity has ruined professional wrestling. Like that's just where we're at in this day and age. And it's sad. It is so sad.
Talk about wrestling, like you said. I miss when it was called WWF.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
do, Jason. I mean, when they said WWF, huh? And that's like you're saying, because of the ownership, what they want to do. It was always WWF.
Yeah.
That was for me. That was ding dong. Okay, there you go. Now the E is incorporation, right? So basically, exactly what you're saying. It's so true, so true.
I don't know, man. I guess as we sit here on the 4th of July weekend, like I do, like I'll sit here and get all up in my feels about the holiday, what the holiday is about, and how baseball has been just an incredible part of that for me my entire life, and I've been able to pass that on to my son. And it's he again, he's absorbing baseball differently than I did, but
Right.
he still has that. I was still able to pass on a basic fundamental love and appreciation for the game itself. And I'll wrap it up like this. We've seen a lot of baseball movies over the course of our lifetimes. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of baseball movies out there, right? So when one stands out for the reason why this one does that I'm about to mention, it does center around the 4th of July. And there is one scene in a movie where, well, the movie is The Sandlot. And
Yes.
The Sandlot is probably the perfect depiction of what it was like being a kid. And while that movie is centered around the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
that same scenario was followed in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, all the way up until here recently, before the advent and all this technology,
Right.
internet, 24-hour access, the whole 9 yards. That scene where it's the 4th of July and the kids go to the Sandlot to play a pickup game of baseball and the fireworks are blowing off in the sky above them.
Yeah.
Brother,
Chills. Right.
yeah, visually, that is the epitome for me of the 4th of July as a kid.
Yeah.
And I love that scene.
Yeah.
And that really puts it all in perspective. And I will make a point every single year in the days leading up to the 4th of July. I watch that movie specifically for that scene.
That
Just
scene.
such a classic.
You can't. That is so awesome, because you know why? It's so pure. It's so innocent, right?
It's not overcomplicated.
Exactly. The kids just want to go practice, and then they see the fireworks going off, and it's just, it all ties in, like you said. Baseball, 4th of July, movies like that. I like that one, and I like with Dennis Quaid, the rookie, the story,
Mm-hmm.
the true
Mhm.
story. That got me going. That was Saint Rita. They had the thing. He's prayed to Saint Rita. That was. I thought that was really. It was a true story, but I love the way they did that. So I like going back to that too, because that was back in the day when they were the Devil Rays, when
Yeah.
he made the team. So that was back in the 90s. But like you were saying, this is all about the 4th of July. Man, I can remember, talking about like the 4th of July, like you said. Of course, hamburgers, hot dogs. You got watermelon, fruit. Like you said, you make such a great point. The fathers be in the corner with their beer cooler. Now we're the fathers, right? The kids are in the corner doing their thing. We're off drinking the beer. You know how the tides turn.
Yeah.
You were saying like your son will never forget what you taught him about baseball. Just like I will never forget the first major league game I've been with my father to Shea Stadium. I was just talking about it the other day. Nobody will ever forget that moment when they go through that tunnel and come out. The first thing I said to my father was, with baby eyes, was, I've never seen such a beautiful sight in my life, because I never seen a major league game, never saw the grass, saw how it was and this. I mean, Jason, it was like coming out of the dark into the light, right out of the tunnel. And I'll live with that to the day I die, until the day I die.
God damn.
Right.
I said the exact same thing last Sunday when I took Samantha's boys, her and I took her boys to the game. And I'm like, now look, when we walk down this corridor, it's going to open up into the field. I was like, and you will see, I was like, I really want you to dial in on that moment, because you'll never see that for the first time ever again. You just, like, everything, like you said it perfectly. It's like coming out of the darkness into a light, and like a sea of green and a sky of blue, and the sights and the smells and the sounds, and Jesus Christ, dude, like that is heaven on earth for me. You know what I mean? Like it's just, and you could tell that moment really resonated with her boys, because it was the first time neither one of them said anything for a hot minute. Like you could see it just really kicking in, because it is overwhelming. You see it on TV is one thing. You play it on your Little League field, that's one thing. But when you are walking in, like, they knew that we were at Comerica Park. I just don't think they understood exactly what we were fixing to do. So when and like the seats that we got were, on the top level of Comerica on the first base side, but you could see, and I did that on purpose, so you could see the entire field in its entirety. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And you're looking down on home plate, and that's why I really wish old Tiger Stadium was still here, because the overhang in the outfield, brother, like you were right over top the players.
Really?
I mean,
it was right.
You were in the playing field. You feel me? Like the overhangs came out that far, and I really wish we still had that. But at the same time,
so the old Tiger Stadium, what you're basically saying is there was not a bad seat in the house,
unless you got behind one of the support columns that held up the upper deck. Right. But they all had little TV screens on them, black and white TV screens, so that you could see what was going on. But if you and they also told you when you bought the tickets, like, this is a restricted viewing. So you knew those seats were like right behind these columns, and it went all around the outfield part of the stadium. But the overhang, what we call K-Line's corner, came right over top the playing field. Like, it was insane. Awesome. Yeah, that's insane. They don't make them like that no more, bro. No. And that's,
Did you ever come across this one thing, Jason? When I always used to go to Shea Stadium, I would go, Dad, why the hell are these wires in the way? You know what I'm talking about? You look down and the wires are, and you go, what the hell? So that was not the nets, but I don't know what they were doing. They were holding something, right? And no matter where you were, the damn wire followed you. He goes, son, that's something else. So I would make sure the next time the tickets would be under the wire, not over it. I don't know where that came from.
You mentioned wire, and something that I noticed the other day when we were down there, and I had noticed, I don't know if this is the first year that they've incorporated this at Comerica, but they have, in the NFL, when you watch an NFL game, you see a camera that goes across the length or the width of the field on a zip wire. They have that mobile camera. They're now starting to incorporate that in baseball games, and there is one at Comerica Park where it brings the camera like around home plate as the guys are walking up or whatever. And that's the first, I was like, wow, that's really fucking obnoxious. That is distracting. After a while, told myself, stop looking at the roving camera. It's going to be fine.
Jay, I can see your face.
I was like, what the fuck are we doing right now?
Because you
What
were
I would look.
yeah.
I don't know.
Go
It's
ahead.
weird.
Go ahead. Tell me.
I was like, man, how awesome would it be if somebody just smacked the ball and smacked the shit out of that camera and knocked it out of the sky?
There
think that
you
would be
go.
funny. But
Oh man, Jay, I'm telling you, yeah, foul ball, get it? There you go. It's over. But there wasn't all those distractions. We had the wire, okay, this and that, but like you said, back then you were up in front with the players. Like you said, Comerica Park, where the old Tiger Stadium, you had that hangover. You knew you were gonna have a damn good time, right? You were like,
yeah,
damn, I'm right there. I could talk to the right fielder, he'll acknowledge you, you right now. It's up to the players if how they want to act towards you. They might give you the finger.
right.
They might, okay,
If they acknowledge you at all.
right. I
Yeah.
got to tell you? I know we're up against it. I'll tell you one quick story that will make you laugh, and I regretted it for the rest of my life. In about it was Shea Stadium, and Darryl Strawberry was on the New York Yankees, and we went to the Subway Series. And I love Darryl Strawberry, love Doc, love that whole '86 team. But of
Mhm.
course, I was pissed that he went to the Yankees, right?
Sure.
We got left field tickets. It was the picnic area. So we sat up, me and my buddy sat up there in the picnic area. And I'm like, hey, Strawberry, right? And he would lean back, he'd look back. He would, like sometimes wave to the kids. And what happened a year or two before he signed for the Yankees? He got in trouble because he was a wife beater. Remember?
Yes.
So I'm screaming, and I regret it to this day. I'm going, Darryl, you're a damn wife beater, you son of a bitch. And I'm calling him a wife beater, right? This, that. Jason, he ignored most of it. He turns towards me. He goes like this. He looks up and he goes, he gives me a kiss. He blows me a kiss. I swear on my child's life, he went like this, and I was like, all right, like, but I feel so bad that I called him a wife beater. I'm like, you beat your wife with a baseball bat and this and that. He took it. He didn't turn around. It took about 3 minutes and did like he did with his finger, going up for a home run. He was like, and I was like, you blow me a kiss. Look, a Yankee player blew me a kiss, baby.
That's
I love it.
fucking hilarious, dude.
But I feel bad. He probably doesn't remember that, but it's like, oh, how stupid was I? I mean, he's so tall, he could have probably came over there and choked the crap out of me.
That's a great story. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, no, that was one of my highlights. But like I said, I really genuinely, every time I think of that, I'm like, I'm a dick. I'm a dick. Why did I do that? But you get in the heat of the moment, right? This is how the fans go. You get caught up in that heat of the moment. He won the World Series for us, Darryl Strawberry. Then he goes to the evil empire, and that's what ticked off the Vin man. I was like, that's it. Now I got to call him a wife beater. It's like, oh my God, what did I do? But you know what? Good for him. He had thick skin. And you have to be in this game because I'm sure he got called a lot worse, Jason. I'm sure he got called a lot worse. I'm not telling anybody to do that. I wouldn't advise that. Not these days. Oh my God. But no, not these days. But
we were built different back then.
yeah. We were. You know what? We took a lot more dares than I would say a lot of the new generations.
Right.
Did a lot more stupid shit that could really these days get you in some serious trouble.
100%. Well, this has been a fun episode, buddy.
It has been. I enjoyed it, man. I mean, reminiscing on 4th of July. Do you have any parties? I'm sure you have a party.
Listen, I there's a number of options at our disposal. We're just trying to figure out what's going to be what's going to be best suited for what we're looking for. I don't put a lot of my personal business on the air, but
Right.
you and I have we have a similar situation that we take into consideration when we're planning anything, right?
Right.
So that obviously is front and center as to what we're going to wind up doing. What I feel like, I do know that there's going to be a grill involved. I know it will include me burning some meat on said grill. I do know fireworks will be incorporated at some point, and probably some great body of water. But other than that, that's all I got right this second.
I got to ask you one thing.
What's that?
Do you think Tim will not light his grass on fire?
There's no telling, because when he starts having a good time, when
it goes flowing,
when the fluids are flowing, there's no telling what's going to happen. And then you get Eric Mendal over there. He's gonna push that button on Timmy there. So I feel like they're going to have their own fireworks. I feel like over there, and actually, that's one of the things that's on the table. Like, I would really like to go over there and hang out with them, but again, we got to take things into consideration, and what's going to be in our best interest for sure. But what I am very confident is they're going to have a great time. I hope you and your family have a great time. And for all of you who tuned in with us live here on the PFC network, and those who listen on demand, we hope you have a very happy and safe 4th of July weekend. Real quick, let's do our shameless plug for the online store. If you have not done so already, check out the exclusive line of ball game merchandise. There's baseball jerseys, t-shirts, polo shirts, hats, mugs, all kinds of stuff over there. Just look for pfcsportsreel.printify.me. Some fun stuff over there. I actually have a cart full that I'm just waiting to pull the trigger on, Vinny. But like I've got some cool stuff in my basket over there at the PFC Sports Reel merchandise store. So it should be cool.
It looks good. I like the hat too that you put, the tan hat. Love it, bro. Like that one.
There's a number of different hats over there, so be sure to check that out. And as a programming note, tomorrow, exclusively right here on the PFC Entertainment Network, a holiday themed edition of the Fatal 4-Way, where we count down the most patriotic pro wrestlers of all time. It goes down Friday, July the 3rd, beginning at 6 p.m. And there's only one place that you can see this episode, and that is the PFC Network YouTube channel. It is a YouTube exclusive for the Fatal 4-Way. We invite you to check that out. It's going to be a good time, good conversation. So be sure to check that out. And on Sports Reel Podcast, live on Tuesday. I think we're going live at 6:45 this coming week. Over right where you're watching Ball Game on the PFC Entertainment Network on Facebook, YouTube, and Riverside.fm. With that, go out, be awesome to yourselves and to each other. Vinny, always a pleasure. Can't wait to do this with you in a couple of weeks.
Same here.
You and the family. And for everybody else, we'll see you next time right here on Ball Game.
Be safe, everyone.
On the PFC Entertainment Network.